Hi all, thanks for joining me. I am going to talk about our gut and how it's impacted by the changes that we have when we transition from perimenopause into menopause. You might be surprised. Stay tuned. So, we'll cover some of the gut changes that we see in menopause, or I certainly do. I'm going to talk about something called the estrobiome. Now, we have microbiome in the large bowel. We have actually microbiome or bacteria living all over us, on our skin. We have a specific vaginal microbiome. There are many. And we also have one living in the gut that is specific to estrogen. Maybe you didn't know that. Next, I'm going to talk about obviously the symptoms that we've experienced at perimenopause and menopause. Maybe they get worse. Maybe you've got different symptoms that are happening that you've never had before. And then I'm going to look at the research and look at what actually helps us. So stay tuned. There is some good news coming. It's a two-way street. Well, one gets the other. Hormones in our gut are going to impact the bacteria, and the bacteria are going to shape the hormones. So it really does behove us to go into perimenopause and menopause with good gut health. To be truthful, having good gut health the entire lifetime is really helpful. But if you're out of balance, then it's really probably time to get back in balance before you hit menopause. Interestingly, as we transition into menopause and the hormones really shift, we then start to have a lower estrogen, lower progesterone, and we then rely more on our testosterone for making those estrogen and progesterone hormones than ever before. And so our gut microbiome can look a lot like a man's. And Bacteroides and Firmicutes, you probably again, maybe not necessarily aware of, but what that does is with higher Bacteroides species, we are more likely to have inflammation, we're more likely to have weight management issues and perhaps cardiometabolic problems. Now, there's a lot of moving parts to having weight issues. There's a lot of moving parts to having cardiovascular issues. However, the gut is one of the ways that we can impact both those areas. And if our gut is out of balance, then that can have a negative impact in both those, in all areas, of course, particularly also in mood, which I haven't mentioned up there. Now, I don't want to try not to go into the biochemistry or the pathophysiology, but anyway, here goes. Can't help it. Um, just so you know, in at perimenopause and into menopause in particular, our ovaries still produce about 10% of our estrogen. So they haven't completely stopped. What else contributes to our overall estrogen is going to be that which is made from the adrenal glands, which are tiny little walnut-shaped things on the top of our kidneys. Also, we convert some estrogen in the fat stores that we have. Now, you might think if you're carrying a bit more weight, then that would be helpful. You'd make more estrogen. No. Too little body fat and too much body fat is as negative as each other. You need just the right amount. So you need good body composition for adequate estrogen metabolism or manufacture at menopause. So after we've got a little bit more than you maybe wanted to know, but now we've got the estrogens in the blood, they're going to the liver to be metabolized. And then the liver thinks, okay, thanks very much. I don't need you anymore. I'm going to tag you and I'm going to either get you out through methylation or glucuronidation or in fact sulfation. Three of the pathways that we have in the liver to leave through the bile, which is produced by the gallbladder, and out through the bowel. So now we've got estrogen bound to fiber from the diet, hopefully, and some bile that we've made from the liver, and now we've got it in the bowel. Yay! It's still not out. It's still got a ways to go. And what happens now is, depending on the microbiome that we have in our gut, as to whether we will break apart the estrogen from its little package there with the bile and the fiber and do what we call deconjugate it and reabsorb it, or whether we will actually eliminate it out through the bowel and through the stool. Now, a little bit of reabsorption is fine, but if we've got too much of it because the microbiome of our large intestine is out of balance, then that is not ideal. So just to recap, estrogen goes to the liver to be detoxified. The liver tags it and goes, hey, get rid of this. The tag goes into the gut with the estrogen, and then the microbiome, depending on its diversity, its makeup, and so on, will take the tag off. So we actually reabsorb it. And this isn't ideal. And it may be something that we need to affect by changing the gut microbiome. So this is why so many women have so many different experiences. 50% of our estrogen that our liver sends out for disposal can actually be reabsorbed. So it's an enormous amount. And if that's causing issues, then we need to get on top of that. I love this idea that the microbiome is an individual as our fingerprints. And that's true. And it is impacted by our genetics. It's impacted by our lifestyle and our stress. It's also, of course, impacted by the food that we eat, but also other drivers of inflammation and so on. So it's a really complex thing. We can actually test now the microbiome quite effectively. And I will do those tests in clinical practice. We can find out some digestive markers and understand the nature of digestive issues, as well as look at the balance of the microbiome and the diversity or not of the microbiome. And then, of course, put a plan in place for that. So some of the symptoms you might have: bloating. You're not just getting older. Our hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and so on, they actually protect the lining of the gut. So as we decline, then the gut lining may have less integrity than it is normally used to, and then that can cause issues, of inflammation. It can even set up allergies in particular, or any other gut disturbance. There also, with this decreased permeability, can lead to inflammation, and gut inflammation can drive a whole lot of other symptoms, not just digestive symptoms, but we can have mood symptoms, we can have headaches, we can have skin rashes, all sorts of things. So there's a number of different problems or conditions or symptoms that someone may present with that actually working with a naturopath will take it right back and have a look at the gut and see how that's going and how can we impact the underlying drivers of the issue that you're presenting with by working with our gut. There are other issues other than the gut, and I've mentioned a few of them, particularly bone health. I'm starting to see a lot of women who are coming in saying, oh my goodness, I didn't know I had osteopenia. Well, not the only thing that's linking or leading to bone loss, but a microbiome that's not appropriate can have an impact on that. As I've already mentioned, weight and metabolism can be impacted by a dysbiotic bowel or a bowel with low diversity. Hot flushes, interestingly, and the severity of the hot flushes, again, due to the reabsorption of that estrogen. And I've already mentioned the link between mood and anxiety. So what does the research say? What are we going to do about it now? Well, the good news is you can eat your way out of it. And where I would start with is the fiber-rich foods in your diet. Probably not telling you anything that you didn't know. 40 grams of flax seeds for a day for 12 weeks is a lot. Please don't start at 40 grams. It is interesting. The bacteria in our gut can have an impact on how we actually metabolize the flax seeds and phytoestrogens as well. So if you're going to introduce fiber to your diet, do it slowly, yeah, over time. Even though this says 40 grams for 12 weeks, 40 grams a day for 12 weeks, please don't start at that. If you're eating already phytoestrogens and you're doing a lot of flax seeds, then maybe you want to see how much you're having and you could up it. The other thing you can start with is vegetables. Now, 400 grams, we often the 5-3, so 5 serves of a serve of vegetables is going to be half a cup of cooked vegetables or a cup of leafy greens. And they can be, 5 serves is the bare minimum. So maybe you want to weigh the food that you're cooking and in any way, shape, or form, if you can ever increase any vegetable intake, please do so. I've never seen anyone, never had to ask anyone to back off the veg. You're having too much. It's not a problem that I see. So loads and loads of vegetables for a couple of weeks. Studies have shown it improved the BMI, it helped bring down cholesterol, and it's in a relatively short time frame. So if you've got vegetable resistance, maybe you want to let me know in the show notes or just leave a comment, and I can maybe send you some my vegetable resistance handout, just some solutions for vegetable resistance. The other interesting thing, and you may be eating fermented foods, I hope you are. Fermented foods are great, but there was some research done on probiotics from the yogurt in particular, and that was over 6 weeks. So making sure that you are having the unsweetened, less plain Greek yogurt would be helpful. When they start to sweeten it and they put fruits and things in there, what that does is it actually kills off the bacteria, or they have to kill off the bacteria because otherwise the bacteria would feed on all the sugar and then we just have a fermented mess. So it's much better if you just get the plain yogurt and then add on whatever you want. You could add in the flax seeds. You could grind the flax seeds up and add it with some of the berries here, and that would be a lovely way to start the day. So it's a pattern. It's not just one miracle food. I've told you a few of the foods there, but ideally it is having a whole food diet and having one with higher plant foods in it, which would then lead to a higher fiber diet. And plant foods aren't just veggies and fruit, they are also whole grains and things like oats and the whole grains are particularly useful in supporting fiber, which will feed a more diverse microbiome. And making sure that we stabilize our blood glucose again with all of the fruits and veg and whole grains would be really helpful, as well as plant proteins and animal proteins if that's what you're eating. So what are we going to build into our work each week? Try the flaxseed. You might, as I said, grind them up. You might even buy them ground already. You can buy LSA, linseed, sunflower, and almond meals, already ground up, and put a couple of tablespoons initially, and then you can start into the teaspoons initially, and then you can start into the tablespoons. Try the fermented foods. There are a number of them. If you are sensitive to dairy, then maybe don't try dairy yogurt. But you can get kefir, there's sauerkraut, there's kimchi. Also, one of my favorites is miso. I love miso soup with some fruit. I just put all the veg in there and some salmon and some noodles, and it's a one-pot wonder. Think of your gut as connected. It's not separate. You are what you eat, and that could not be more pertinent in this particular setting. So eating these whole foods is really going to get your gut supporting your hormones and elimination and having a flow-on effect to weight, to cardiovascular health, to bone health, to mood and anxiety. So all of these things can be improved with a whole food diet. And be patient. This takes weeks. And as I said, start slowly and just, if you know, add 1 teaspoon in, add one more serve of veg, and just grow and grow over time, and then you will start to see results. There are some references for you, the papers that I was looking at to get the information for this particular presentation. And if you're interested in having a discovery call with me to find out if there's more work to be done or if there's something that we could work on, you're most welcome to book in a discovery call with me. Or if you're really ready to go, you might want to come and do a microbiome test. You might want to book in and see me for a consultation. The link is in the bio there, and I will look forward to hearing from you.